Oliver and his brake van Toad have interesting perspectives when it comes to winter time. Oliver likes snow, while Toad finds it messy, as we learned by the end of their Season 7 episode. One day, since the snow is getting much more chaotic, it was rumored that additional engines would be sent to work on the Peel Godred Branch Line, and since Duck and Oliver's branch line was out of service for the winter, they were on the chopping block for options on the Peel Godred line. "Excuse me, Mr. Oliver," Toad said nervously one day. "It's rumored that we might have to go back up to the Peel Godred Branch Line to work. Will we crash into that snowman if you don't mind me mentioning it?" "I certainly don't, Toad," smiled Oliver. "That incident taught me to see some magical things about snow, and I'd be more than happy to go back up there again." "I don't know, Mr. Oliver," replied Toad. "Snow is cold and messy, as you taught me years ago, and I'll remember the lesson for a long time." But they did end up having to go back there. One snowy morning, Thomas was clearing the snow up to Carlin Castle. "God, this thing is childish," Thomas grunted as he looked at his snowplow. "Could they seriously not make this thing less hideous?" Thomas," said Melissa, who was in the cab with the driver. "Your dislike of your snowplow is like my daughter hating having to wear a needed safety precaution before my cool mom energy connected with her, and it is adorable. You couldn't be more like my kids when they were younger if you tried." Thomas put all his strength into clearing the snow, but still struggled a bit. He didn't struggle for much longer as he heard an ear-piercing whistle. "Don't tell me it's..." "What the f*** was that?" shouted the driver. "Don't look at me," said Thomas. "I can't control when engines come speeding down the lines at dangerously high speeds and throw caution to the wind." "Don't look at me either," Neville continued. "It was my driver. He was trying to beat his 5-star rating in Grand Theft Auto. I couldn't control my speed." Melissa climbed down from the cab to assess what happened. "I don't feel the urge to say this to many," she said, "since I'm usually always trying to see the bright sides of life, but you are a moron. Even my kids wouldn't be as reckless as you, for as teenage-like as they can be." Harvey soon brought Rocky to help clean up the mess. "Looks like someone's gonna have to take your spot on this line, Neville," Rocky said. "And I'll likely be here often because of how many crashes are occurring." Molly soon arrived to take Neville to repairs while Gordon came to pull Thomas. "Never mind, little Thomas," comforted Gordon. "There are many engines on this island who think life is a game, but you and I are none of them." Thomas saw Gordon as a brother here. "Thanks, Gordon," he replied. "We stick together through any kind of weather. Who do you think will be coming up here to take Neville's place?" The question was soon answered. Sir Topham Hatt came to the sheds. Desperate times call for desperate measures. "Oliver, Duck, and Toad," he said, "you three are to work on the Peel Godred line while Neville is being repaired." "Yes, sir," Duck and Oliver answered. But Toad was feeling nervous. "Mr. Oliver," he said, "do we really have to go back up to that line? What if we crash in the snow again?" "We won't crash, Toad," assured Oliver. "The Peel Godred line is a well-maintained line in the winter. Neville's Bridge is being restructured at this time." Oliver soon collected a goods train from the docks. "Ahoy, me hearty," said Salty. "Where are you headed on this snowy day?" "Peel Godred," said Oliver bluntly. "It's snowy up there," replied Salty. "If you need help, I can come with you." "No thanks, I can handle snow." "Careful, Captain. You don't want to slip and fall." Oliver thanked Salty for his concern and set off. Oliver's first stop was collecting some chocolate from the chocolate factory. As he stopped, one of the workers spoke to him. "Get going now," he said quickly after loading a crate. "Percy's got a severe peppermint bark addiction. I don't want you to fall for his shit." "Bark! Peppermint bark!" screeched a voice from the junction. "We go now," said the driver, and they sped off fast as hell. Oliver sped down the track, but then he saw something. Percy had stolen Thomas's cannon and attempted to shoot Oliver, but he only succeeded in destroying the bridge above Kronk. That's 2 bridges now that are out, fumed Henry at the station. There's no proper way to get up to the branch line. What f***ing morons! Calm down, old boy, said his driver. Sir Topham Hatt was planning on closing that bridge for repairs. Percy just forced him to rebuild that section completely. Won't be as much work as Neville's bridge down the line. Henry felt better after his driver's words. At Abbey, Daisy was waiting. Here's your milk tanker, Daisy, said Oliver. Don't worry, Sir Topham Hatt's planning on buying more tankers back from the mainland. Whatever you say, most sought-after play-rail model, purred Daisy. Why did they not make me a trackmaster, but they made a Duke repaint? I'll get my punch-rack upgrade someday, said Oliver. And it's like Gordon getting streamlined. I can revert back to this form if I want. Oliver said this because he knew what the answer was, but didn't want to say it, and he puffed away. Before long, Oliver arrived at Carlin, where Wilbur shunted a fuel tanker for him in place of the milk tanker he dropped off for Daisy. The fuel tanker was soon coupled up to Oliver's train. Then suddenly, action! Yelled Seymour from the roof of the station, and a massive mob of dickheads dressed as game characters ran towards Oliver. I feel nothing, Oliver said dryly as he puffed forwards and pushed through the mob. Nobody was killed, but they had to do a reshoot of their shitty scene. After stopping at Carlin Castle, Oliver's driver started filling up on water. We should really get onto the other line before climbing the big hill, said the driver, but the signalman is completely wasted and passed out. Let's not worry too much, said Oliver. After we climb the hill, we'll try and switch lines with an actually smart signalman. Oliver struggled up the hill. His wheels slipped on the icy rails, but his fire burned fiercely and he kept on puffing. Then he saw Harold, who was trying to warn the driver about the danger on the tracks up ahead. Look out, Grey Western driver, yelled Harold. There's danger up ahead. But as they got to the top of the hill, they forgot to switch lines. Oliver then saw Ryan pushing some trucks next to him. You're on the wrong line, watch out! He shouted, but it was too late. Oliver's driver was distracted by his phone, so he didn't notice the solid snowbank up ahead. Holy shit! Yelled Oliver as he shot off the tracks and slid down the hill. Luckily, no one was killed. Are you alright, Oliver? Shouted Ryan. I think so, moaned Oliver. How about you, Toad? Toad was shivering, but alive. I'll go get help, said Ryan, but it might be a while since the bridges are out. Hours passed, and thankfully, the snow didn't fall like the stocks of shitty entertainment companies. I guess you were right, Toad, Oliver called. I should have been more careful, and snow is still messy even if there's fun to it. Toad felt happy he and Oliver were on the same level. They were stuck for a few days since the bridge above Kronk was being repaired, but eventually the breakdown train was soon helping to clear the mess, and Oliver was pulled back up the hill by Butch. After being repaired, you'll be here for a while since Neville's driver was careless, as you already know, said Harold. But you're taking Neville's spot here only, so don't take his driver's spot too. The engines continued the cleanup, not prepared for what was taking place on Arthur's branch line on the other side of the island.